Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today, we're taking a look at this little guy right here, Ragers from Galakta Games. And it is a card-laying game with a paper, rock, scissors mechanism built into it with some special cards, and you're basically trying to score the most glory points over the space of 3 rounds of card play. So let's get down to the table. I'll show you how it works, and then we'll come back for my final thoughts in just a few minutes. So here I have a game of Ragers set up for you. The game comes with basically 4 decks of cards. You have the patron deck, which is going to exhibit restrictions on the current game round. There's a cheer deck, which will exhibit some bonus glory points that either team will be able to score during the course of the round. And then there is an accuser's deck and a defender's deck, denoted by red and blue, respectively. So at the beginning of a round, a patron card is turned over and a cheer card is turned over. Now, the patron cards will denote some kind of restriction. For example, no cheater cards can be played, no veteran cards can be played, no Deadeye cards can be played. And this one simply means that the game, the round will end after 4 cards are played instead of 5. So, but this one, the nameless, simply means it has no effect whatsoever. So that's kind of an interesting way to start. The crowd cards over here denote some requirements, and then a bonus of number of glory points that can be scored if one or both teams is able to accomplish that requirement. So basically, 2 swords would have to be played during the course of the 5 cards there. If you are able to get that, then you score the 2 glory points. So each player starts with 5 cards in their hand. Cards, the ones that are arrows, basically arrow banners, are attack cards. The ones that have the squared off banners over here are special kinds of effect cards that will have an effect during the course of the round. For example, this guy is a negator, so he will negate the card that is placed directly across the table from him. The Deadeye here is a card that allows you to play an extra card next to it. If you look on the back of the card here, bashers will beat swords, swords will beat prodders, and prodders will beat bashers. So it's a paper, rock, scissors kind of a mechanic that's there, but only the last attack card that is played during the course of a round is the one that matters in determining who won that round. So basically on the course of your turn, you're going to take your cards and choose one to play. You place it face down. Your opponent will do the same thing. And then both cards are flipped over, and any effects that could take place do. In this case, they're both attack cards. No special effects are there, so nothing happens. We draw a card to replace the one that we just played, and we play another card. So then we look at my hand. Okay, let's see here. We're going to play that one. And then our guy over here, let's go ahead and do that one. And so then we flip over cards like so. And this is a cheater, which negates the effect of this card. This is a Deadeye, which is a special card which needs to resolve. He's not going to because of this card here, but what this card does is that the player would immediately play another card here, so they would refill and then play another card as well. But since this is a cheater card, this one is negated like so, and we go on to the next round, filling up, of course. Now, when we flip this card over here, we have a Deadeye against a basher. Okay, so that doesn't do anything, but the Deadeye means that I have to draw a card and add it to my hand, and then play a card here, like this. Now, what this does is it prematurely ends the round from Blue's point of view, because blue has only played 4 cards, but because now I have 5 cards played out in front of me, that actually does end the round. All right, so at this point, what will happen here is we look at the last action card, or rather attack card played by both players, which for me is the Prodder, and for the defenders, it is this Basher here. We look at to see who beats who. The Prodder beats the Basher beats the Swordsman. And so the Prodder beats the Basher, which means that the Prodder, or the accuser's team over here, is the one who won the round. So then they're going to be getting glory points equal to this card here for each card in their tableau that matches the winning card. Well, they don't have any here except for this one, so that's 3 points. But they also were able to place down 2 swordsmen, which means they also get the effect of the cheer card here, so they score a total of 5 points for that round. Defenders over here also were able to get out 2 swordsman attack cards, so they also score the 2 points, but they don't get any points for winning the round with that card there. Now, had this been the case where the accusers actually won with a swordsman defeating this Prodder here, then he would have been able to score 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 glory points over here, whereas these would have, the defenders would have only been able to score the 2 glory points awarded by the cheers of the crowds. So after this round is played, a different patron card would be flipped over, a different cheer card would be flipped over, and these cards would go away into a discard pile, and players start with, of course, 5 cards to begin the next round as well. And you go through 2 more rounds of that. Whoever has the most glory points at the end of the 3rd round is the winner. Now, we saw the effects of the Deadeye and the Cheater cards already in the playthrough example, but there are also Chancer cards here. Basically, it copies the combat icon and all effects of a combat card placed directly opposite it. So basically, this is a Chancer that basically just copies the card that it is placed directly opposite, but it doesn't copy the glory points that it gives. Then there are also Stopper cards, which basically protect the card that's placed right next to it in a subsequent turn. Then there are Veteran cards, which forces the player to immediately place a new combat card from his hand on top of the Veteran card. So basically, you get to see what your opponent plays first, then you can place something on top of it. So the Veteran is denoting battle-hardened experience and can almost, like he can foresee the future or what have you. You can explain it away however you want. But those are the other kinds of special cards that are in the game. So let's get to our final thoughts. So that is Ragers. It is a very simple, almost too simple game where you are simply trying to play cards and with some kind of strategy throughout the course of 5 card plays, where you are going to beat the other person on that last attack card, and then get points scored for the other cards that you've played throughout the course of the round. Then hopefully scoring the most glory points over the course of 3 rounds, and that's pretty much it. The problem with the game, really on the onset, is that you have a 20-page rule book. 20 pages! Now again, it's a pamphlet, really. So it's a 20-page pamphlet rule book for a game that really takes only about 10 minutes to play. So the rule book is really verbose. I mean, way too verbose. Now, the problem there is that while you're reading through these 20 pages of a pamphlet, you're thinking, wow, there's a lot here. There must be something here, but I'm just not seeing it in the rules. I'm not seeing it in the illustrations. I'm not seeing where's the depth that 20 pages makes us have. Now, probably it's 20 pages because of the format. I got that. It's slender, it's short, there's not a whole lot of room on these pages, but if you look, the type is pretty small too. So I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill here. I'm just simply saying Rulebook could have been condensed significantly, which probably would have made it easier for us to understand how to play the game. Now, with all that being said, they do provide a little a code there that you can scan to give you a playthrough of the game to help you understand how it all works. So there is that. They did go the extra mile to try to help you understand the rules a little bit better. But again, the rulebook is just way too many words were used in the explanation of this game, because generally speaking, it is quite simply play 5 cards or maybe just 4 cards depending on what your opponent does. And then the last card that you played is what determines who wins the round. You might want to try to score some of those glory points from the cheer card, the crowd cheering cards. You have to follow the restrictions that the patron cards do, but generally it's simply play 5 cards. Who won that round? Get your points. Play 5 more cards. Who won that round? Get your points. Play 5 more cards. Who won the round? Get your points. Who had the most points? I did. Okay, I win. That's all it is, but it's just not explained well in the rule book. As I said before, it's based around a paper, rock, scissors mechanism where bashers beat swordsmen, swordsmen beat prodders, prodders beat bashers. That's it. The only real clever decision making that you are going through is how am I going to try to set it up to score the most points? And then at the end of the round, that last card, your opponent can just totally mess up your entire plan. Probably easier said than done, maybe, possibly, but it could happen. It could happen in all 3 rounds at that point. So I really think that they were trying to go for a very simplistic game. That was achieved, but I think they probably stepped too far and made it just too simple. So I can't give this game a very good review at all. I mean, it's okay. Really, the artwork is great, and unfortunately, I think the artwork was almost wasted on this game because it's great artwork, but there's just not a lot of game there. So it's almost like, man, great art, but just not any game that's underneath it. And unfortunately, you know, I usually like Galakta, man. Galakta usually puts out a lot of games that I really have a lot of fun with, and they just knock it out of the park. This one, I saw Galakta, I was like, oh, cool. Arena combat, that's interesting. That's a neat theme. Okay, cool, I'm on. And then gameplay was just not there for me. So I kind of apologize to Galacta because usually I love your stuff, guys, but this one just really fell short in a major way for me. So unfortunately, I cannot give this a positive review. I did want to. I think the artwork is great. The card quality is awesome. The idea is cool. You know, these 2 teams of gladiators fighting back and forth. The paper, rock, scissors element just really kind of drove it into the ground for me. So that's that from me. Ragers from Galakta. Try before you buy, as always, people. See you on the flip side.